First channel, Saving Private Ryan. We're in the company of heroes, and two of them I'd like to point out, Cynthia Hughes and John Shafley. They have done amazing work. They are true patriots, and the work has just started in many ways, because for the opposition, their motto is weaponization today, weaponization tomorrow, weaponization forever. They are preparing for their comeback, and they're doing it with the same sorts of tools and the same arrogance and the same corruption that they used in 2020. And it's going to be worse the next time, unless we stay united and unless we start dealing with some of the structural issues that we're going to talk about today. I represented President Trump in the January 6th case. I defended him when no other law firm, no big law firm in the country, would take his defense. The first thing I did is hire my own lawyer. Honest to God, because they were going to come after me, and they did. I sometimes feel like the Forrest Gump of weaponization. I also represent the One Taste group, Nicole Dedone, who's in prison, Rachel Cherwitz, who are in prison for their spiritual beliefs, because they opposed a woke prosecution team that does not believe in female sexuality and the empowerment of female sexuality. They look at all women as victims. Awful. And they criminalized a statute. They're looking 15 years in jail, and there's not one single victim in that case. But we need structural reform beyond President Trump. First of all, we have to eliminate immunity for prosecutors and law enforcement on day one. No prosecutor is a king or queen, and they have to be held accountable. They have to be brought before juries. The same thing for law enforcement. You violate the law, you're going to trial by a jury of our peers. Second, we have to reform these statutes. President Trump was indicted for conspiracy for taking a position and challenging the 2020 results. That was in the indictment. The theory was, according to the Biden Department of Justice, that he lied about the 2020 results, and therefore he was guilty of conspiracy. He was also charged with a KKK conspiracy dating back to the Civil War. The same thing that Doug was prosecuted for. When I went to see a thug prosecutor named Jack Smith, he said, well, we can prosecute him because there was this case in the Eastern District. We just got a conviction for a meme under the same statute, KKK statute. We have to reform the statutes. We have to work with Congress. Nicole and Rachel are in jail for violating something called the Trafficking Victims Protection Act. They didn't traffic a single person. They had a spiritual and sensual practice that the Biden administration, the woke prosecutors did not like, and they got prosecuted under this statute. It has to stop. It has to end. And the first thing we need to do is reform the criminal statutes that give incredible discretion to prosecutors. Weaponization is a function of prosecutorial misconduct. Ed Martin, you visit him, the dude is amazing. I mean, you know, all heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they wear trench coats. And he's like he's like everywhere. But where's his staff? He needs 50 lawyers. When they came after President Trump, they had 35 prosecutors and 50 agents working on the case. They assembled 14 million documents and 500 witness interviews. And the thug prosecutor, Jack Smith, said, I want a trial in 90 days. 90 days. The judge said, no, that's really unreasonable. We'll give you 120 days to prepare for trial. And by the way, Mr. Lauro, don't talk about politics in my courtroom, but we'll set the trial for the Monday before Super Tuesday. Where were the rule of law people? Where were the crying liberals? So we have to deal with structural issues. And finally, we need better judges. We need courageous judges, and there has to be a litmus test. Thou shalt not weaponize the law. Thou shalt abide by the Constitution. And thou shalt honor due process. All of the stories we heard today, and I've been practicing law as a criminal defense lawyer for 40 years, and I no longer put this on my resume, but I was a federal prosecutor in the Eastern District of New York before that. And that place is a cesspool. But every single instance that we heard is a denial of due process. We need judges that will respect the law, respect due process, and not look at themselves as politicians in robes. And that has got to change, absolutely. I have hope. I have hope because of people like Cynthia and John. But we will either hang together or we will most certainly hang separately. But we have our work cut out for us.